Welcome to another edition of Diplomatic Channel. I am Amarachi Ubadi. The United States last week announced new travel guidelines for people coming from 6 Muslim-majority countries. The new guidelines, issued after the Supreme Court partially restored President Donald Trump's executive order, saying that applicants from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen must prove a relationship with a parent, a spouse, child, adult son or daughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law or sibling in the United States. However, grandparents, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, nephews, cousins, brothers-in-law, and sisters-in-law or other extended family members are not considered to be close relationships. And this will be over a period of 90 days. The court also said it would also partly allow a 120-day ban on all refugees entering the United States to go into effect. Now, Director of Immigrants' Rights Project for the American Civil Liberties Union, Omar Jadwat, says the revised ban is not a victory for the Trump administration, though the impacts will not be felt as much had the previous document pulled through.
The implication on the ground is actually not as severe, I think, as it might at first appear, because the number of people who will be affected by this narrow version of the ban is much smaller. You know, I think it's a complete mischaracterization to say that this is in some way a victory for the administration. What they're being allowed to move forward with here is really, you know, the smallest sliver, the kind of faintest shadow of what they originally set out to accomplish. Another big thing, though, that will be important is making sure that the government really sticks to the parameters that the Supreme Court has set out in terms of where they can actually implement this ban. Well, the fundamental problem is the fundamental problem that's been there since the beginning. I mean, it's clear that President Trump instituted this ban and the one before it, because, as he put it, he thinks Islam hates us, that we have a problem with Muslims in the United States, and that he wants to see a reduction or a halt of Muslim immigration to the United States. And that's fundamentally incompatible with our Constitution.
At the time he signed the executive order for the ban, the president said it was the protection of the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. Immigrants in the United States think differently.
Most Muslims feel that this isn't the best way to promote peace and to stop terrorism, which we all want to do. I mean, Muslims are the ones who are suffering the most from terrorism. So, but we respect whatever America chooses to do. Just, I hope that America will think about peace and harmony as the goal.
We've been, you know, in Turkey, it's so extreme. The measures are so extreme. The security measures are a lot more extreme than here. Therefore, I feel like civil liberties is secondary to our comfort. I'm used to that. As an American, when I put my American hat on, I'm not used to that. No, I definitely feel we're being violated.
As so far, it appears only the Iranian government has responded to the partial restoration of the ban. The country has promised to take reciprocal action in response to the Supreme Court, allowing a partial implementation of the travel ban. According to the Iranian Foreign Ministry, the decision is an indication of the decision of the leaders of that country to discriminate against Muslims. The Islamic Republic of Iran, after carefully examining the recent decision of the Supreme Court of America, will take proportional and reciprocal action. The government says the U.S. citizens must now apply for tourist visas before traveling to Iran, as opposed to others, including Germans, who are able to obtain these on arrival. Professor of African History, Peace and Conflict Studies, and the pioneer director of the Institute for Peace and Strategic Studies at the University of Ibadan, Professor Isaac Olawale Albert, joins us now. Professor, thanks for making time to be with us today.
Thank you so much, Marachi, for inviting me.
What do you think is the real motive behind this ban?
Well, I think for our viewers at home, there is the need at this moment for us to establish a theoretical framework for understanding what is happening. In security studies, there is what is called theory of securitization. Theory of securitization is saying it is no crime until it is so labeled. What President Trump has tried to do is to label movement of refugees as a criminal activity, not just only a security problem. And I think this is creating a very big backlash for the American state. And the recent judgment of the Supreme Court, to me, is a face-saving strategy for the American state. Because since this policy came into place in January 2017, I think America has suffered a great bit of credibility, not only outside of America, but also within America. Now, the policy is considered to be Islamophobic. The states that are affected by this policy are Islamic. And I think people of the Middle East are not happy with America. And Muslims all over the world, I think, are also not happy with America. Secondly, America paraded itself as the policeman, the greatest democracy in the world. Now, if a democratic state is not able to assure refugees of safety, of protection, then I think we've lost it all. And this is the first time in my own consideration that America is actually creating this type of problem for itself. Thirdly, a number of people worked for America in Iraq as translators. They worked for America as secret agents. Now, the ban that we have now is the blanket type that does not protect these people who served the national interest of America. Now, America is becoming more active in Syria. And I don't think people, Syrians will want to work for America because what they see of the Iraqis is a big lesson for them to say, look, don't trust America too much, because when the dices are on the table, that America might not actually protect your interest.
Professor,
So,
do you think? Sorry, Professor. Let me just cut in here. Do you think that this could jeopardize the lives of even Americans who are in these countries that you've mentioned, Iran, who has acted as interpreters, and some who are also on the ground taking part in some other peripheral military matters?